Imagine standing in a dark cathedral where a single note rises and vibrates through the air. Have you ever felt how sound can move through your body, almost as if it bypasses thought and speaks directly to your spirit? Ancient societies knew this well. From the steady rhythm of tribal drums echoing under a full moon, to the haunting chants of monks filling stone walls with resonance, sound was never just music. It was a weapon, a ritual, a form of mind control. The Pythagorean orders once wrote about the music of the spheres, claiming that every planet emitted a precise frequency, together forming a cosmic symphony. But hidden in those same texts was a warning, a darker harmony, one capable of breaking balance, planting fear, and shaping submission. Secret societies learned that the word could be challenged, but frequency slipped past defenses, entering the subconscious without resistance. Did you ever notice how certain songs stay trapped in your mind, replaying without permission? Or how military marches, national anthems, and even corporate jingles create unity, loyalty, and obedience? What if these are not coincidences, but carefully engineered frequencies? The rituals of the past may not have vanished. They may have evolved, encoded into the very symbols, chants, and hidden technologies that surround us today. What you'll discover in this video may surprise you. How a primitive art of vibration became a science of psychological manipulation. How the same forces that once shook ancient temples now shape the music in your headphones, the broadcast on your radio, the frequencies pulsing in your daily life. Write in the comments, "I see the hidden signs," and don't forget to subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Stay with me, because what started with a drumbeat in the dark will soon reveal how invisible harmonies became the silent weapon of our age. The year was 1953, a quiet meeting behind closed doors, far from the eyes of the public, where a decision was made that would ripple through every melody you've ever heard. Until then, no single pitch had ruled the world. Orchestras tuned differently, cultures sang in their own keys, and the earth itself seemed to vibrate with countless tones. But on that day, the A note was fixed at 440 Hz. It sounded like a technical choice, a harmless act of standardization. Yet beneath the papers and signatures, something else was unfolding, a convergence of hidden power and forbidden knowledge, a decision shaped by more than just convenience. Researchers whisper that this was no ordinary adjustment. This was the frequency of subtle unrest, a pitch able to stir the mind without words, to create an undercurrent of agitation so faint you would never name it. But you would feel it. For thousands of years, civilizations had known another resonance, 432 Hz, ancient temples, classical compositions, sacred chants. This was the pitch that mirrored the rhythm of nature, the heartbeat of the planet itself. It soothed, it aligned, it opened. Some said it was the language of the stars, the hidden symbols coded into the movement of the heavens. Secret societies studied these harmonies, their rituals woven with tones that could heal or control. They knew that sound could carry more than melody. It could carry intent. When the new standard emerged, the shift was subtle, but the effect was global. Overnight, the music of the earth was replaced by a sound just slightly off, just slightly tense, like a string pulled too tight, but never breaking. Ask yourself, have you ever wondered why so much modern music feels like an endless loop of stimulation without resolution? Why crowds move in unison at concerts? Why advertising jingles stay in your head long after the ad has ended? This isn't just entertainment. This is manipulation. Frequencies tuned not for beauty but for control. It's a kind of psychological influence hidden in plain sight. A dark agenda woven into everyday sound. And the deeper you look, the more you find traces of occult rituals disguised as pop culture. Ancient codes smuggled into mainstream songs. Echoes of ceremonies older than any nation. These are the marks of conspiracies, the fingerprints of a plan that thrives in the unseen. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled," but that's only the surface. The 440 Hz standard was merely the opening move. Once the frequency was chosen, the question became how to broadcast it without suspicion, how to make billions resonate with a tone they never asked for. The answer lay not in speeches or decrees, but in something far more subtle, far more invasive. An invisible delivery system that would embed itself in every radio wave, every television broadcast, every streaming service you use today. They had the frequency, they had the reach, And as you begin to trace the path of this hidden influence, you'll see that what started as a single note has become something far greater, something still humming beneath the surface, waiting for you to recognize it. Have you ever wondered why so many global hits feel eerily familiar? Why, across decades, different artists and genres seem to echo the same melodic fingerprint? Hidden beneath glossy production and glittering videos lies a pattern so subtle, so universal, that it slips past even the most critical ear. They call it the millennial whoop, a vocal hook built on a simple rise and fall of notes, repeated endlessly across hundreds of songs. It feels joyful, nostalgic, addictive, but behind its sweetness is something older, something engineered. This isn't just composition. This is a tool, a code, a form of forbidden knowledge repackaged as entertainment. Ancient societies once used mantras to induce altered states. Now, secret societies and their allies wield digital mantras disguised as pop choruses, and you hum them without realizing why they stick. Producers today understand wave entrainment, the way certain frequencies can sync your brain's rhythms to an external beat. It's the same mechanism monks once used in hidden rituals, the same occult symbols carved into temple walls where chants echoed for hours. Repetition creates openings. It bypasses the skeptical mind and feeds directly into the subconscious. A catchy melody is no longer just a melody. It's a carrier, a delivery system. Within those hooks, fragments of hidden power can ride unnoticed. Emotional cues, linguistic triggers, even subliminal messages woven so delicately that you feel them without hearing them. This is psychological influence at its purest form, a dark agenda wrapped in bright harmonies. When you listen, your body sways, your lips move, and your neurons fire in synchronized patterns. You're not just enjoying music, you're entering a designed trance. The same ancient codes that once guided pilgrims through labyrinths of sound now slip quietly into your playlists. Conspiracies flourish in the unseen, not in overt slogans, but in familiar choruses, in beats that feel safe. This isn't about one artist or one label. It's about a system built to harness rhythm, to anchor mind control in the universal language of music. Have you felt that moment when a song grips you and won't let go? When it replays in your dreams? When it feels like it's speaking to you alone? That's not an accident. That's programming. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." But that's only the surface. If sound can open the door, what walks through it next? Music primes the subconscious, but sound alone cannot seal the message. To complete the ritual, they needed another layer. Something older than melody, something that reaches through the eyes into the deepest corridors of perception. You've been trained to focus on the beat, the lyrics, the thrill, yet all the while another signal flickers right before you, hiding in plain sight. The real question is not why the hook feels familiar, but what is hidden in the shadows of the visuals built around it. Imagine for a moment that you mute a music video you've seen 1,000 times. Without the sound, the glittering lights and fast edits suddenly slow in your mind. You begin to notice the background instead of the beat, the all-seeing eye hidden in a stage prop, the pyramid etched into a costume's pattern, the black and white checkerboard floor, echoing the Masonic lodges of centuries past, solar discs behind dancers, serpents woven into jewelry, hand signs framed as choreography. These are not random flourishes. These are hidden symbols, ancient codes, deliberately placed, recycled across eras, passed from secret societies into the world of entertainment. They are fragments of occult rituals disguised as pop culture, waiting for your subconscious to drink them in while you hum along. Sound alone can move you, but sound plus image can shape you. When your mind is entrained by a repetitive hook or a calculated frequency, its filters weaken. In that state, your subconscious stops distinguishing decoration from instruction. A pyramid ceases to be just a pyramid. It becomes a trigger, a key, a doorway. Forbidden knowledge has always relied on two channels: vibration and vision. The priests of Egypt carved symbols into temple walls while intoning chants. Medieval alchemists illuminated manuscripts with sigils while whispering formulas. Today, producers and directors replicate the same pattern with beats and frames, embedding hidden power into pixels, shadows, and choreography. This is not an art movement. This is psychological influence masquerading as entertainment. The dark agenda hides behind spectacle, occult rituals dressed as award show performances, conspiracies whispered through lighting design and stage geometry. What you believe you're watching is a performance. What your subconscious is absorbing is programming. The sound opens the door. The image plants the seed. The repetition waters it until it takes root without your consent. Have you ever felt an awakening? A sudden flash where you see a pattern you've ignored for years, then dismiss it as coincidence? That moment is your conscious mind catching a glimpse of the truth before it fades back into noise. Ask yourself, why would so many unrelated artists repeat the same ancient codes? Why would billion-dollar productions risk using controversial imagery unless it served a purpose beyond provocation? Secret societies don't waste symbols. Every eye, every pyramid, every checkerboard is a ritual gesture that once belonged to initiates only. Now it streams to billions, wrapped in neon and bass drops, silently aligning emotions and beliefs to the unseen. This is manipulation at its most elegant, invisible, deniable, addictive. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled," but that's only the surface. If sound is the key and image is the seed, then what grows from this combination? What end requires such patient, intricate programming of the masses? You've seen the hooks, you've seen the symbols, yet the real objective remains cloaked, moving just beyond the edge of vision, where shadows and hidden power converge into something far larger than a song or a video. Look closer at what's happening around you, the songs that fill your feeds, the images that flash across your screens, the endless repetition of the same emotional cues. This isn't just marketing. It isn't just entertainment. It's engineering on a scale so vast it feels invisible. Secret societies once worked in temples, now they work through networks and studios. Their goal is not merely to sell you a track or a brand. It's to shape the very field of your inner life. This is mind control at its most refined, not by command, but by conditioning. A subtle weaving of sound and sight that sets the rhythm of your heart and the hue of your thoughts. Imagine billions of people moved by the same beat, triggered by the same hidden symbols, reacting with the same surge of euphoria or the same wave of apathy. That is power. Hidden power, psychological influence made predictable, measurable, and monetizable. When every chorus, every video, every ritual performance carries the same emotional imprint, a monoculture is born. Not of taste, but of feeling. It becomes a silent script running beneath reality. You don't just buy, you obey. You don't just enjoy, you resonate with the dark agenda of the unseen. Ancient codes that once required initiation now slip like viruses into the collective subconscious. This is the forbidden knowledge no one names aloud. Emotions can be standardized. Fear can be summoned on cue. Hope can be commodified. Apathy can be induced as easily as a trance. The goal is not to erase individuality, but to synchronize reaction. If enough people feel the same thing at the same time, whole societies can be steered without a word. Think of a population whose highs and lows are timed like a metronome. Think of decisions made in that state: elections, purchases, beliefs. This is not theory. This is the soft machinery of manipulation, built on centuries of occult rituals now hidden in algorithms and production schedules. They don't want you to feel what's real. They want you to feel what has been programmed. They want awakening replaced with sedation, revelations turned into spectacle. This is not just culture. This is control, the standardization of the human soul. Conspiracies no longer need to be whispered. They hum in the background of every trending song, flicker in the shadows of every viral clip, pass through you while you dance, while you scroll, while you sleep. Can you sense it now? The pattern behind the pattern, the single pulse beating beneath 1,000 beats? But that's only the surface. If they've built a system this vast, this intricate, how could it ever be broken? They have the technology, the industry, and the knowledge long kept forbidden. It feels like a battle already lost. Yet within every system there's a flaw, a frequency out of reach, a hidden sign waiting to be seen. What if the same forces used to control could also be used to awaken? What if the spell could be interrupted before it completes its cycle? They never needed chains. They only needed you to stop paying attention. The greatest weapon of mind control has never been the frequency itself, the hidden symbols, or the occult rituals. It's your passivity. Secret societies have always counted on silence, on eyes that glide over patterns, on ears that hear but do not listen. When you drift with the current, the dark agenda moves you without resistance. When you begin to notice, even faintly, the spell trembles. This is forbidden knowledge turned inside out. The same pathways used for manipulation can be reversed by awareness. Active listening is not just hearing, it is decoding. It is the act of reclaiming hidden power. When you question what you hear, when you test the resonance of the music flooding your feed, When you stop humming and start thinking, the emotional script unravels. A song tuned at 440 Hertz ceases to be a subtle irritant and becomes only a note. A beat designed to sync your brainwaves turns back into rhythm. The symbols once absorbed unconsciously, pyramids, eyes, checkerboards, become obvious, and obvious symbols lose their grip. In that moment, the psychological influence dissolves like smoke. Start small. Listen to music at 432 Hertz, the tuning used by ancient codes long before the industrial world. Compare the feeling in your body. Watch a video with the sound off. Trace the hidden symbols in the shadows. Ask yourself why they are there, who placed them, what they want you to feel. This is not paranoia. This is training your perception. The same awakening that once belonged to initiates in secret rituals can now be practiced by anyone who dares to see. You are no longer just an audience. You are a witness, and a witness cannot be programmed the same way a spectator can. Consciousness is the antidote. Not noise, not outrage, but the quiet skill of seeing and hearing. When you recognize the pattern, the enchantment breaks. The sound that once pulled you into trance becomes only vibration. The images lose their seed. The dark agenda finds no soil to grow. The conspiracies feed on your automatic responses. Take those away and their hidden power collapses. You move from being manipulated to being self-directed. You leave the monoculture of emotion and return to your own inner rhythm. This is what secret societies fear most. Not rebellion, but awakening. Not noise, but clarity. But that's only the surface. Because if awareness alone can shatter the spell, imagine what happens when awareness becomes collective. When thousands begin to see the signs at once, what new frequencies could rise out of that awakening? What symbols could be reclaimed, inverted, turned back toward truth? You made it here, which means you didn't just listen, you felt. You followed the threads of hidden symbols, the frequencies that hum beneath the surface, the forbidden knowledge buried in plain sight. And now you understand why the shadows work so hard to keep you distracted, passive, unseeing. Because once you notice, once you awaken, the spell begins to break. What once controlled you becomes only noise. What once deceived you becomes obvious. And with each revelation, you step further away from manipulation and closer to truth. This channel exists for that very reason, to bring into the light what secret societies have long concealed. Every story, every symbol, every ritual unmasked here adds another piece to the puzzle, another spark to your awakening. If you want to keep unlocking these codes, if you want to keep pulling at the strings that have been tightening for centuries, make sure you stay with us. Subscribe, not as a casual click, but as a declaration that you refuse to let your mind be silenced. Here, each video is not just content, it is a continuation of the hidden conversation you were never meant to hear. Leave your mark below, something simple yet powerful. Write in the comments, "I see the hidden truth." Let that phrase echo like a signal through the unseen, a reminder that you reached the end and you're awake enough to acknowledge it. Your presence here matters. Every awakened voice weakens the dark agenda. Every revelation shared strengthens the resistance against manipulation. And if this message resonated, let it show. A simple like on this video is more than approval. It is alignment. A silent recognition that what you've just uncovered has weight, has consequence, has meaning. It tells the algorithm of control that you choose a different path, one where your awareness guides you, not the programming imposed from the shadows. This is not the end. It never is. What you've heard tonight is only one fragment of a larger design. The next revelation waits, already woven into the symbols you see every day, already pulsing in the frequencies that surround you. Watch the next video as you would enter another chamber in a hidden temple. Each step takes you deeper, closer, further into the heart of what they have tried to bury. The manipulation does not stop at music. The hidden symbols extend into films, into architecture, into the very brands etched into your daily life. The all-seeing eye carved above doorways, the pyramid rising in logos, the checkerboard floors beneath your feet. Where have you seen them? Where did the pattern cross your path? Tell us in the comments, share your vision. Mark your awakening. The truth is everywhere for those who dare to look.